Okay, so I'll get started by, which you probably know this since you've served a few years as a mentor, but we'd like to do just sort of a background of tnAchieves. We are a private 501c3 that partners with the state to facilitate the Tennessee Promise Scholarship, and we operate in 90 counties across the state out of the 95. So there are 5 that are facilitated by the AIRS Foundation. It's another organization that runs a mentoring component. But we started in 2008 in just Knox County. So since then, we've served more than 440 students and worked with over 70,000 volunteers. So a lot of people are being touched by this program. We have 5 main components. The first of which being our last dollar scholarship. So the funding that allows anyone in the state of Tennessee to go to college tuition and fee free. The second is our volunteer mentors. So what we say is the heart of the program. Those that really are from the local community that help students through the access process getting into college that can be super stressful for our students. And then community service is another component that's been with our program since the beginning. So our chairman is a Boy Scout, and community service portion is super important and something we're really proud of because now over 3 million hours have been completed by Tennessee Promise students. But we ask students to give back 8 hours of community service prior to every semester that they receive funding. So always pushing for that culture of giving back and hoping that that really stays with each of the students beyond just their Tennessee Promise requirement. We also facilitate summer programs. So over 70% of the students who participate in Tennessee Promise graduate from high school without being college ready. So they don't test into college level classes. So we offer at each of our community colleges a summer bridge program that is a 3-week boot camp, allowing students to get instruction in reading, writing, and math. And then at the end of that 3 weeks, they have the opportunity to test into college level classes. And then our Summer Institute, which is another summer program we offer. Right now it's only offered in Memphis, but hoping to expand that across the state. But it's a program where students can take 6 college courses and start their first semester with 9 college credit hours under their belt. So both super successful programs that we will continue to figure out how to expand and serve students. The last component is our complete coaching model. So we have paid full-time staff members that start working with our most at-risk students once they start college. The mentorship has completed. We have complete coaches that reach out to students once a month to make sure that they are staying on track with graduating from college and getting all their questions answered. We also very much believe in the power of targeted communication, which you, I'm sure, are very familiar with being a mentor, but we send a lot of emails and text messages to students to remind them of deadlines and ensure they're staying on track of with everything in regards to their Tennessee Promise Scholarship. So to talk about our reach, covered that a little bit already, but we serve 90 counties, 74 of which are rural counties, 35 are at-risk or distressed counties, and we work with over 600 high schools and 67 colleges each year. The majority of our students do go to a community college. 79% of our students are at community college, and then the other 21% are split evenly between the TCAT and the 4-year school. So 11% are at a TCAT and 10% are at a 4-year institution that's Tennessee Promise eligible. We get about 60,000 students that apply to Tennessee Promise in our counties each year. That would represent 89% of the high school seniors. So the majority of high school seniors do apply. We know that all those students are not going to go to promise institutions, but backup program or apply because they don't know what they want to do yet. So we always encourage all students to apply. If you look at the number of freshmen at Tennessee community colleges, Tennessee Achieves students represent 78% of them and 86% of the students that graduate from community college annually. Over half of our students are considered at risk based on their family income. So they receive the federal Pell Grant. So 56% of our students are eligible for federal need-based funding. 40% of our students are the first generation and would be the first generation students in their family to get a post-secondary degree. And then 51% of our students are majoring in health sciences and STEM related fields. So those super important career fields that are growing in our state and across our country. Something we always get asked when we talk about Promise is how expensive is this program? So it costs the state about $32 million each year to cover the cost of tuition and fees that is associated with Tennessee Promise. And for Tennessee Achieves, we operate with 28 staff members on a $2.5 million budget. So college going rate is something that we are constantly looking at and really took a hit along with many other things with the pandemic. So prior to in 2019, 62% of students across the state were going to college after their high school graduation. In 2020, that went down to almost 57%. So a large drop. What we're hearing anecdotally from students is that they are working full-time, they're getting that full-time paycheck, and so they just don't see the value in going to post-secondary right after high school. So that's certainly a story we are trying to change. In Dickson County, there wasn't actually that big drop. However, they are still or were below the state average prior to the pandemic and now sitting just above. So in 2019, 57.4% of students were going to college, and in 2020, 57.6%. It actually went up 2%, which is what we're seeing in a lot of the smaller counties. There we go. Okay, so some of the benchmarks that we look at for college access are the FAFSA file rate and then community service. So students who complete the FAFSA statewide 86%, and then in Dickson County we're just under that at 83%. So 83% is lower than the state average, but a lot higher than a lot of counties and certainly the nationwide FAFSA file rate. Tennessee is always in the top 5 states for FAFSA filing. And mentioned earlier that we have over 3 million hours of community service statewide. In Dickson County alone, 24,000 hours have been completed by local students. So that's a pretty significant number. When we look at our outcomes, when we measure, when we look at the number of students who go to college and see how they perform, the 2 things we look at are retention and graduation rate. So across the state, our retention rate is 67%, which doesn't sound awesome. However, when you're comparing to statewide averages, it's 53%. So 14 percentage points higher. So we know that the programs that we are offering to students are helping and continue to try to grow those to increase that retention rate. Same with graduation rate, 35% is the state average, and Tennessee Achieves students are graduating at 16 percentage points higher, so 51%. If you look closer at some of our programs, when you look at the students who participate in those summer programs I was talking about, the retention increases by 34%. And then if you look at the number of students who are coached by the coaches in the complete proactive coaching model, 23% higher than their peers. So certainly some good examples of programs working with students. So Dickson County does have a large number of students who apply each year, almost 550 students. So each year that many students apply to Tennessee Promise. About 160 of them enroll in Promise institutions. So that doesn't mean the other ones are not going to school. They're just going to non-Promise eligible institutions. Retention rate is higher and graduation rate than the state and national averages. So 67% retention rate in the state, and Dickson County students are retaining 3% higher than that. So 70%, and the 3-year grad rate, 7% higher. So 42% of students who start with Promise in Dickson County are graduating within 3 years. So being a mentor, you clearly know a lot about this because you've done it for a few years. 2022 will look a little bit different, just like 2021 looked. We are still going to be offering mentoring virtually. However, a lot of feedback from our mentors was that they want the options to be in person again. So we are offering some in-person options for mentors who want to meet with their students in person. We'll be hosting open houses at the post-secondary institutions. So we are already recruiting for our 2022 mentors. The application is live on our website, and the deadline to apply is December 3rd. We'll need 82 mentors in Dickson County, and new mentors just have to apply on our website and do a training, and then returning mentors just need to let us know. Are you already signed up to mentor again next year, or are you considering doing it next year? And they will have a 30-minute refresher webinar. So you are? Oh, great. Yay. So the other.
I don't know that I'm signed up.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't think I'm signed up yet, but I plan on renewing, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I can sign you up if you want.
Okay. That'll be great.
Okay, I'll take care of that for you. And people who we present to are always asking us how else they can get involved. Mentoring is our number one thing. The other things are connecting us to groups in your community or businesses with more people to talk about the mentoring opportunity. So if you know of any, we're happy to always come or come virtually if you want to email any of us. And then telling students. So if you know any high school seniors, the application for them is live. So they have to apply in their senior year. And if they don't, they no longer have the opportunity to take advantage of Promise. So those are sort of the 3 tangible next steps for students. That's all the data we have. I have my contact information here, but I don't want you to write it down, but you can always find it on our website, tnAchieves.org, and reach out if you have any questions or things that you want to know or dig into further. But